So let's see who's here. I'm just going to sit here and rearrange my desk, clean things up, wait for you to get in here. Let's see who is here. It does take a minute, by the way. And I'm watching, and I'm watching. I see nothing. You know what I do sometimes? I'll just go over onto my face. There it is. Here it is. It's saying that it wants me to watch myself on a bigger screen, and I say no to that. That is the truth. Oh boy. Talking to my sister-in-law. Hello, Helen. And Linda. Hi, Courtney. Who else is here? Here they come. Hi, Joanne. Good morning, good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Happy Nunday. There's my girl Lucy and Doris and Cindy. Hello. Good to see everyone. Lily, hi. Lily from Colorado. And Ruth from Maine. What a beautiful state. I love Maine. Maine lobster. Yep, I have gone there. I have gone there. Hello, Yolanda. And Carla. Here come my ladies. There's my girl Jenny. We're 26 and growing. Yes, we are 42 and growing. Watching you while you work out. Amy. She gets the pinkies. Amy gets pinkies. Rhonda. Hello, everyone. Tay is in the house as well. Just missed somebody I was saying happy hello to. Rhonda and Diane. There you go. Got a Diane here in too. Love to see everybody showing up, and I love the fact that you guys share these videos, which is so appreciated. We got a lot going on, and in the back you can see I've got all those beautiful flowers over my shoulder. Aren't they gorgeous? That's my, those lilies came from my friend Amy, who's one of my clients, and I am just loving those flowers. They just light me up, the glorious pink. And then if you can see those white orchids, those are some hardy orchids. I brought them back from North Carolina all the way across country in the back of my car, and they survived. Not only did they survive, but they gave us a double strand. So beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of everything. And thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. We are delighted to be here. And, you know, I was thinking about this today. I had a girlfriend who wrote a really eloquent post. Her name's Renee Ayera Chan, friend of mine from a long, long time ago. And she has, you know, she's kind of gotten into it with a few people, because have you noticed how many experts have come out of the woodwork that are telling you what to do and what not to do, and how they just run the gamut? This is safe, this isn't, this is this is, you know, it's just insanity, right? Oh, Cassie, good to see you. And Melissa, welcome aboard. Jennifer's in the house too. You know, I find it just crazy. We all have this need to be right. But in the middle of all of this, where we really do not know exactly what's going on, because you guys have seen this, one day it's do this, the next day it's do that. One day it's do this, the next day it's do that. And I'm not putting anyone down. I'm not putting down the medical professionals or anything. You know what I'm looking at? I'm just looking at the fact of, what do we really know? You know, what do we really know? I'm sorry, there's something tickling my face. What do we know? We know nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, we know nothing. All we know is that we have a virus that's out of control, and we don't know much about it. And when we think we've got it, something else comes along and just throws us off. What I do know is this, though. We're going a little nutty in our houses. Have you had enough? I have. Is that going to cause me to go outside tomorrow and do whatever? I don't think so. Doubtful. But what I want to say to you is that there's some people who are really struggling with depression. You know, and it's real. It's not just cabin fever. It's actual depression. You know, they don't have the ability to go out. They don't have the ability to go find a doctor and sit down and talk and hash it all out. Maybe they have had some telemedicine and FaceTimed and done whatever. But, for some people, this is a new thing and they're dealing with it. What do? Call a friend, talk to somebody, but it just keeps coming. We have ways and things always that we can do. Always. We're never stranded and isolated, that alone, and that unable to do anything. Nobody is frozen in time and just, that's it. But there comes a place where we have that depression, or it just feels like anxiety is our constant companion, or that whatever we were dealing with before has now been compounded with where we are. So I want to talk a little bit about that today too, because I have something, I was thinking about all this, if it were me and this is what we're going on, I'm gonna default to just some things that I know, and some things that I know can really super help. I'm always going to do that. I'm going to look at that first before I go see a doctor and go getting, nutty with some pharmaceutical stuff that, might not be so great. And I'm going to talk about that too. But first, I wanted to share our new quote of the week. If you saw me yesterday, I shared this because this is part of our whole topic today. And it's from George Adair, and everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And that includes what you want right now today, getting out of the house. That includes what's out there. That includes being fearful that maybe you're falling into a depression. Maybe this is something that's happened to you before. That includes everything. Because the opposite of love is fear. And when we go past and start veering into territory that we know and don't want, then we have to take a look at that. We have to kind of stop everything for a minute, don't we? And we have to kind of pull the plug. Amy said, that's why I'm on the treadmill this morning. I need some dopamine and serotonin surges big time. Yes, that's part of our whole thing. That's part of our, how do we get out of this? There's a lot of things that we can do. And I want to talk about that because I don't want anybody feeling like I'm just, alone. I have so much stuff going on here. I can't see my way out of it. And we all go to dark places sometimes? We all do. And this is not to say condemn. This is not to say shake yourself out of it. None of that. This is to say that there are some things that you can do right now. There are some things that you can do so that you're not going to go into a tragic, dark place. And I want to talk to you about that today because I've been thinking about it myself because, we all snap into this place. We all kind of start thinking and hand-wringing a little bit, don't we? Who has ever been in this uncharted territory before? Anyone? Anyone been in a pandemic and been, solidly in your house for 6 weeks? I've been in my house for 6 weeks. I would go back and look at my phone, but I remember, it was just like I told my trainer because I paid the money, got the training, did all the things that I'm going to do this training. I'm going to get all of this stuff going. I was so excited. I was making such progress. And then all of a sudden I was like about March 8th, I remember saying to Mark, don't feel safe anymore. And all this stuff hadn't hit yet, but the writing was on the wall. And we chose to, self-isolate early. And we've been here since. It's been a long, long time. But you know what? I work from home. I have been blessed. I haven't had much change, except I had a big change in my business. There's been a lot that's affected my customers. But, it also has given me the impetus to how can I serve? And that's helped me from going to dark places. I believe service is something that's just really important. And when we can go out there and just, like today, I was thinking, I want to stay in my pajamas. I don't even want to, comb my hair. Believe it or not, this is combed. And I'll just tell Jenny I'm not going to make it. But then I thought, what if somebody needs to hear this message today? Because I've been thinking about depression. and thinking a little bit about anxiety, and I'm thinking a little bit about like what it feels like to just feel like the bottom is falling out in the darkness. Because I've been there, you know, I've been there. I've been in the place where I've had my face in the carpet, crying my eyes out, soaking the carpet underneath me. I've been in the place of just feeling like I didn't ever know how I was going to get up from it again, you know? But I do believe that there's redemption sometimes in where we are in the dark places, because there's a promise in the Bible that says that God can take ashes and make them beautiful. That there is rainbows after, you know, horrible trauma. So let's talk about this, okay? And I'm going to share with you a couple of supplements as well that work, that are really fantastic. So I want to make sure that I cover all of this and get you through a lot of this, because, you know, nobody is hopeless and nobody is left alone. And while we might be isolated, we can be connected, because here is a place where we are connected. And while I can't be on all the time and saying, hey, I want to hold your hand, I will say right now, I want to hold your hand right now. And I want to tell you that you're loved and you're cared about, and that there are people always wanting to hear from you, always. And they're just a phone call away. They're just an email or a text away. You know, you can FaceTime. There's things that we can do. Last night we did this thing called House Party. I think we did it with some friends. We had a screaming good time. It was hilarious. It was like playing it was heads up kind of a thing. And it was heads up, and it was also, we played Pictionary, which was hysterical. And by the way, I'm a pretty darn good drawer. I get points for that. So I would just suggest strongly that bring your people in. We've got all the kids, and that's one of the things that we're going to do. And I'm so looking forward to it. We need things that we can look forward to. That's one of those saving graces. Amen. So I also want to tell you that I've really been fighting the food monsters lately. Here I am with this glorious flour that Caroline's, you know, brought to me. So I've got this beautiful, you know, heirloom, organic, locally grown, GMO-free, freshly milled, etc. flour. And so I made some rolls last night and ate, you know, just one. But it was, you know, I was thinking, God, I'm playing with fire here. What am I doing? But then I've got all of this stuff, and I want to do all these things, and I want to be baking bread and doing what everybody's doing. I got to sort all that out. You have to sort your stuff out too, you know, and that's part of our thing. We all have to sort it out. So cravings are a thing. Am I right? Cravings are like a massive thing. And I have really been at it, guys. I've been at it and just really working it. But I have also been uptown, downtown on my L-glutamine. The L-glutamine is amazing. It's an amino acid. We carry it in the shop. We have a few jars left. So first come, first serve. The thing that I can tell you is if you put it in your cart, you get free shipping. All you have to do is put ships free in the promo window. Bada bing, bada bang. And the way you use it is you put it in a little dish, you wet your very clean finger and put it, teeth, gums, tongue, and it knocks the craving out. Not kidding. Learn this from a psychiatrist who does it with her addicted patients. That's who she serves. And it doesn't matter if you're addicted to heroin or carbs. You know, it works. It works. So it's a tool in the toolbox. So if you want to get this, we have it. It's in the shop. L-glutamine. It's an amino acid. Tasteless, doesn't freak you out, nothing. And if you if you put that in and buy a bunch of other supplements, which would be wise, we've got a bunch of stuff in right now, and we'll put a mindful mug in there if it's $200 worth, and free shipping, you know, because we love you. We want to be a support. This is what we do. The mindful mug helps you to think about what you're going to eat. The mindful mug makes you stop and center and whatever. And for people like me who is food addicted, for people like me that just strap on the feed bag and go crazy, it gives me a minute to slow down and think about what I'm doing and eating. So that's what a mindful mug is. And I came up with that because I kept thinking, why do I keep forgetting this? Why do I sit down and I think, oh my gosh, and then I'd have to pace myself with Mark because he eats slower. It's so hilarious how these ingrained things just keep coming back. Even though you're battling them every single day, it is hard to slay a dragon. They come back in spades, don't they? It might be hard, but it is worth the fight. And I'm worth the fight. You're worth the fight, right? Amen? Pinkies, ladies? We got the pinkies up. So don't forget, also, every Friday we do a Q&A time. And our Q&As are great. People send in all kinds of questions, whether it's cooking, nutrition, whatever. I'll help you out. Just send them in. That's all you have to do. To support@savingdinner.com. And in the subject line, if you put question for Leanne on Friday, it'll get into my little spreadsheet. And I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question. So lately I've been on a hydration kick. You know why? It's so easy to get out of it. And this morning I already started on just like, oh man, I forgot to set my alarms for all my phone things. But hydration is so important. And the topic that we're talking about today, even depression is a part of the whole dehydrated thing, right? Because it helps to promote brain fog when you're dehydrated. And when you have brain fog, have you noticed? Zoom, there you go, right down into the dark place. It is truly like that. I'm cooking at 4 today. I cannot tell you what I'm making. I will tell you, however, my fish chowder was delicious. I don't think I took a picture of it. I would have liked a little bit more cream in it, but it was fine. And it was mostly bone broth. But talk about healthy, talk about good stuff. All that fish, man, I'm telling you. And if you didn't watch it, yesterday's Facebook Live, I made a fish chowder from scratch, mostly bone broth and a little cream just to put it all together. We're starting, by the way, on May 3rd, I think, or May 4th, is our sprint. The sprint is a really fantastic way of like clearing the decks, getting rid of the inflammation, and just starting over. I call it the ultimate clean slate because goodness gracious, don't we all need it, right? We all need a clean slate. So start with us on that, will you? It's starting that what is that? May 4th is the day. May 4th. So start now and get ready for it. It's right. If you go to savingdinner.com, you'll see it. It's right there. Free. Lots of pages tell you what to do. And I'm not going to make you go out and actually have to do all these crazy things and, broccoli sprouts and all that. If you can do it, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. This is a graceful sprint. Just go take a look at it because honestly, you need to look at this because if you're feeling just kind of bloated, your hands hurt, you're feeling just not yourself, you've gained a few pounds, maybe some quarantine pounds. Boy, are we going to have some quarantine pounds, right? Then it's really critical, it's absolutely crucial that you join us for this because we can show you how to get rid of some inflammation and feel a little bit better. That's all we're looking at right now. The gene stuff and all the weight loss stuff, that can come later. A whole lot of grace, to me, is what's really massively important. I think the mental health aspect is important as well as the physical aspect, but I'm looking at things from a completely different point of view. I'm looking at things from the point of view of helping you to feel better so that you're not wrapped up in a bunch of weight loss stuff when everything is kind of crazy right now, or maybe that's a good diversion for you. I don't know. It's all personal. It's all personal. But Marianne says, I so need this, the grazing. Yeah, the grazing. The grazing, the boredom, the this, the that, and the out of, everything is out of whack right now. And I want to bring you from out of the whack into the unwhackness, if there's such a thing, and talk about what we need to talk about, which is depression. It's real. And I've had a couple of people, we've actually had a lot of people, one of the things that has been flying off our shelves has been this, SAME, which to me is the go-to for depression. It is the go-to. I'll talk about it in a minute, but that's the one thing that we have. We don't have, we don't have a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. That's the one thing that we do have, and it's just absolutely the most amazing thing in the world. What causes depression? Well, what causes depression, the way we go down into a dark hole is a lot of times this is an ingrained habit. Depression can be a habit. What do you do when you start thinking bad thoughts, one after the other and one after the other, and they spiral down, and there you go. And again, I am not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist or psychotherapist, none of that. I'm a nutritionist. I'm looking at it from the physiology side of things. I'm also looking at it from just the human part of things. How do we get better? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we not go to the place of having to need, some kind of an antidepressant? So there's a couple of things, and I want to talk about these things in context of things you can do, things that you can get, and things that that really help. Just simple, easy things that really help. The first thing is stepping away from the sugar. Sugar is depressing. It's inflammatory, and it's a super big problem, and it can exacerbate a whole lot of other things, especially if you're somebody who has some kind of a chronic condition. Any kind of inflammation is going to make, for example, high blood pressure worse, diabetes worse. Anything that causes inflammation is going to make a chronic condition worse. So we have to look at this and just say, maybe it's time to back away from the sugar. Maybe I don't need a muffin today. Maybe instead of making pancakes, I woke up thinking I want to make pancakes this morning. Who am I? I'm not a pancake maker, but here we are. And yeah, Yvonne just said it. Sugar makes me depressed. Yes, it does. It is depressing because you have that momentary high and then you go, bam, all the way down, all the way to the ground. Kathy's asking, can you take S Ame with depression meds? You'd have to talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you if you can or if you can't, but I will tell you that in the EU, this stuff is a prescription for depression. And what I have seen in all of the studies, and that's what I suggest everybody do, is look at what the studies say. This stuff, it has almost no side effects, if any, and it's really remarkable at how effective it is. As a matter of fact, some of the studies have shown it is more effective than regular antidepressants in the pharmaceutical grade. But again, I am not making a recommendation. I'm telling you, do your homework. And one thing that I will tell you that is really super depressing is when you feel disempowered. One of the most powerful things that you can do is become your own advocate. Find out if you are taking any kind of a medication, be an expert about it. What's that medication for? Do you have to be on it for life? Is there a natural substitute? Is there something else that you could be doing instead of taking that? What are the side effects? What are the contraindications? Is there a cheaper substitute? Something that doesn't cost so much money? Something that's going to do just as good a job without having as many side effects? And on and on. If you just blindly take your medications because the doctor has told you to take them and you don't understand all of this about it, you're not being a good steward with your own body. And I'm sorry, but that's for all of us. And the information is there. You just have to Google it. It is right there. We all have the opportunity to know everything we need to know about the medications that we're on. And then if we're taking more than one, we can find out how do these two medications play in my body? What's going on with that? And that is my high recommendation. And then if you have issues with it, you get the study, you go to PubMed and you get the study, you read it, you highlight it. When you see your doctor, you say, this is why I'm concerned about this medication or taking these combination of medications, and you show them. They're not going to do it for you. Promise. But you can do this. I do this all the time. And every time I've ever wanted something from my doctor that's maybe an off-label medication or whatever, you have to do your homework. And pharmacists are great resources for these questions. Yes, they are. But I've also found that pharmacists are also going to be going down the party line. And I want people to be able to get information that isn't just absolutely, what the pharmacist or doctor is going to tell you, but instead is going to have all of the information. You need all of it. You need it from A to Z. You need to know, not just one thing, not just one side effect, but you also need to know all of them. And you need to know about the contraindications, and you need to know how these medications play in your body. That's just being a good steward. And that is, again, and I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just saying, wake up and do this work for yourself. This is the whole reason why we do this. And Dina, you're absolutely right. You do need the right pharmacist. And I have a good girlfriend of mine who we just had a Zoom cocktail party on Friday, happy hour party with a bunch of girlfriends. One of them, Isabella Wentz, if you know her, she's a thyroid pharmacist, but she has her PhD in pharmacy, and she's brilliant. And of course, I've gone to her a million times and asked her questions about stuff. But, she also has, her bent is way more natural than somebody else. And that's why I wanted, again, that's why I'm bringing all this stuff in. You've got to know about what you're taking. So sugar, the first thing you need to avoid is sugar, because sugar is just going to take you down, and it's going to do that whether you're depressed or not. It's going to cause inflammation in your body, weight gain, etc. It's not going to play nicely with you wanting good health. It just doesn't. And the second is booze. For heaven's sakes, it seems like such a good idea having that glass of wine or whatever, but it's a depressant. It is a depressant. It will depress you. So staying away from that and just cleaning things up a little bit might be a good idea. Did you know that alcohol sales have gone up 55% since this whole pandemic? And I'm wondering, what happened here? Well, I know what happened. People are, going for it. And cigarette sales have gone up. Cigarette sales. When we were talking about a virus that attacks the lungs and other things. That's scary that people would decide that smoking might be a good idea. And then there are things that we can do that bring in feeling good, right? There's a lot of good things that we can do. So let's start about it. Let's start talking about it, because this is the stuff that makes the difference, that makes the huge difference. And one of them, Amy was just doing it, is exercise. Exercise brings in serotonin and dopamine. Those are the feel-good hormones. It helps you. It will make you feel better. And I know the hardest part of working out is actually starting it and doing it. But you know what? If you just do one set, that's my whole thing. My whole thing is like the 4-minute workout, which I recommended yesterday and I recommend now, is just a really good way to get started, and you'll see all the information about it. Zach Bush, MD, is the guy who did it. So take a look at that on YouTube, and he demonstrates and shows you how to do it. He even gives you some stuff that you can do if you've got shoulder issues or knee issues or anything, because it involves everything. And what a difference it makes. What a difference it makes. It gets you going. And so sometimes I'll say, I just don't want to do it, right? You know how it is. I don't want to do it. But if I just say, okay, I'll just do that one set, the next thing I know, I've done the whole set, the whole thing, because it's only 4 minutes, and it's a done deal. Well, I make deals with myself to do stuff like that. And if we play negotiation games with ourselves and just treat it a little bit lighter than we are making it, we can get there. And it really does help, because it does, there's a physiological effect there. So that's one thing. Another thing you can do. The other thing you can do is take a B complex. I highly recommend a methylated B complex, because folic acid in particular is really good for depression. But here's the thing you need to know. Not everybody can methylate folic acid. Half the population can't. They have a mutated gene that makes it impossible. I'm one of them. And fortunately, when my daughter was in a car accident when she was in college, they did a X-ray because she had whiplash. And guess what they found? Little tiny holes up and down her vertebrae. And you know why? Because she was this close to having spina bifida. That's what the doctor said. And spina bifida comes from a folate deficiency, folic acid. And guess what? I have that gene. It wasn't that I wasn't doing my B vitamins. I was, but it was to not. It was for not. So make sure you're doing a methylated B complex. That's how we know that you're going to get something that's going to have that effect. The other thing is magnesium. Now, 85% of our population is magnesium deficient. 85%. And do you know magnesium is necessary for every muscle in the body? And can you imagine being magnesium deficient? What are you doing to your heart? That's a muscle, 100% muscle. So we have to look at these things and say, okay, am I getting enough in? There's a little drink called Calm, C-A-L-M. You can find it and drink it at night. Also helps with sleep, it helps the muscles to relax. Take an Epsom, have a drink of that and an Epsom salt bath, and it's going to help a lot. And speaking of sleep, getting enough sleep helps with depression. It really does. And when you're shortchanging yourself on depression, on sleep, you know what happens? You start getting depressed and you start feeling bad and you start overthinking about things you shouldn't be thinking about, like, how awful everything is and what have you. And maybe if you'd had enough sleep, that wouldn't be the case. I'm really big proponent for having good sleep hygiene, going to bed at a good night, good time every night for you. I go to bed between 10 and 11 o'clock every night. If I were really on top of it, I'd be going to bed right at 10, like in bed, dark, in bed. Having my Epsom salt bath beforehand, taking the Calm after. That's the way, if we do things like this and have rituals for ourselves, it's also very soothing. It makes us feel secure. And that in and of itself helps with depression. If we have our little rituals that we do in our Take Back Your Life and also in Home Hot Milk Club, and if you were a part of Full Bloom, you saw this. We talked about the Take Back Your Life journal, about setting up your morning and your evening rituals, which I borrowed heavily from the Fly Lady from evening and morning routines. But these I call just the absolute 100% bookends of your life, because it gives you that security. It's like sitting at a dinner table. You've heard me talk about that too. At the dinner table, it gives the kids security to know that they belong to this little circle. And it helps them to feel like they belong and they're a part of. And for me, growing up in a dysfunctional home, that dinner table was pretty much my only security place. No wonder I went to this place, right? St. John's wort, you've probably heard about. Well, that's not for everybody, but it does work for a lot of folks. But it takes a good 3 to 6 weeks. For some people, it doesn't work at all, though. There's a lot of studies. There's been a few studies on it. Not a lot, but there's been a few studies on it. Definitely not something that's, somebody who has, that is pregnant or nursing should do, but definitely something to be looked into. Again, everything that I'm talking about today, I'm strongly suggesting do your own research. Find out, is this right for me? Do the research and not just read some article, but look for the research. The research tells you that this has been thoroughly tested. There's so much bogus stuff out there, you guys. Oh my gosh. And, I always joke that and we've got this kind of going on right now, right? That when I watch people giving out nutrition information or saying stuff to my clients, my coaching clients about, well, you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm thinking, where's your nutritional training been? People become amateur experts, don't they? Amateur nutritionists, amateur infection specialists, amateur this and amateur, they all come out of the woodwork and think they know. Drives me crazy. And yet we all do it. We all want to feel like we have this understanding, but we don't. I have an understanding right here of certain things, but it's not, my understanding isn't yours, and you've got to do your own research. I'm always going to pass the ball right back to you. This is how we become empowered too. If we're just constantly going to knuckle under whatever anybody is saying, however they're saying it, then we're going to be putting ourselves in the place of victimhood if it didn't work for us. Well, they said and it didn't. Well, how come you haven't done your own research on it? How come you haven't gone and you've dug in PubMed and found out that it could work? Dina said St. John's wort combines with some prescriptions but has good data for efficacy for depression. Yes, it does. And everything doesn't work. Everything doesn't work. Here are some ideas. Do your research. Write them down. Go look and see if this works for you. I'm going to tell you right now all day long, SAME is like a godsend for me. A godsend. And it was a doctor, an integrative doctor who told me about it in Charlotte. Neil Spate, if you've ever heard of him, he's a dear friend. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he told me about this because I had joint pain. And then when I had depression and the joint pain, because it took care of the joint pain, it also took care of the depression. It's mood and joint. That's what this is. And this is 200 milligrams, and that's great for some people. For me, I take 2. I need 400 milligrams. That's me. Am I going to tell you to take that? No. Am I going to tell you to look it up and to find out about it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially do your research. If you're taking something, see if there's any kind of contraindication. But you can buy this in the United States over the counter. It's great stuff. We've got it in the shop. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I recommend it highly. Out of all these ideas, I recommend this one because I think it's just that effective. 2 weeks, boom, changes. The other thing is fish oil. Did you know that? Fish oil. Because what happens is that your brain requires omega-3 fatty acids. And you know what else? Omega-3 fatty acids, if you don't have them, you're going to start getting depressed. Who knew? But omega-3 fatty acids, your body doesn't manufacture it. It gets it from eating. So if you're taking fish oil, we have a fabulous one. We're backordered on it, waiting on it. By Omega-3X, absolutely the best fish oil on the planet, I believe. It just is so effective. And the capsules are tiny and no fish burps. But it's backordered right now. Hopefully we're going to be getting it. Amy said the same thing. Amy's a nurse too, so she knows her stuff and she looks at things. She does her research. She said SAME has been incredible for my joints and I've been able to come off prescriptions. There it is. Like I said, in the EU, this stuff is prescription. Here in the United States, you can get it in my shop. 5-HTP works. This is also another substance that may help to boost serotonin, and it also helps with sleep. And you can find that. You can find that on Amazon. Again, folic acid, SAME, fish oil, St. John's wort, also magnesium. All of these supplements all are super helpful. Another thing that works, people have what they call seasonal affective disorder. You've heard of it. It's getting out in the sunlight. Something that simple as going out into the sunlight and just allowing the sun to bathe you in the vitamin D that's out there. And if not, you can actually buy lights. I understand that they can be expensive, but you can buy these lights to put in your home if it's too dark. I'd be all over that, if I needed to be, but it definitely works. Exercise, and then also the hydration. When you don't have enough water, your body shuts down all the functions one at a time. And what I mean by that is that it's just a really crazy thing that happens with your body. Your body is going to, your skin's going to dry out first. But you think about what's going on deep within. Your systems are preserving all the water that it needs for body function. You need water for everything. Your whole body needs water. I mean, we can go for a long time without eating, but we can't go for a long time without hydration. But if we are optimally hydrated, it's amazing how much better that we feel and how much easier it is to stay in a good mood. It's a free and easy thing to do. And it's one of the things that when we do our whole, when we do I talk about it in the sprint, you'll see it's all in there. But one of the things that I have noticed with all of my coaching clients and with people who are in the sprint and otherwise, that those who use hydration to their advantage following the recommendations consistently are the ones that lose the weight and feel the best. How interesting is that? All I know is this. You guys, we can really get wrapped up in it and go into a really bad place. But it's on us if we're not proactively going to do something about it. And I'm not talking, I am not an expert on nutrition, but I have my expertise is in nutrition. I mean, an expert on depression, but in nutrition, I understand how all these things work. And I also know that when we're in the place of giving our bodies what it needs and taking out what it doesn't and what harms it, that we're going to start naturally progressing to the place where we're feeling our best. Feeling our best physically naturally influences the depression, And I'll tell you, movement and hydration, SAMe, those things, and changing and getting rid of sugar changed my life. Completely changed my life. And I've been to the dark place. I have been 237 pounds. I've been full of absolute crushing pain and inflammation. So I know what it's like. I'm speaking from my own experience. So if you are in this place of struggle and in this place of just feeling blue, I'm going to ask you to just get outside today. Even if it's just, marching up and down on your porch or whatever. Capture some sun. Marla always says capture a sunbeam. And let the light do the work. But also move your body. When we're just sitting, just watching TV, just eating a bunch of crap, doing all the things that bring you down and stay doing that, it's going to perpetuate daily. And you're really going to feel like crap. I mean, that's a promise. You know how that feels. So start with one thing. Start with just going outside. Start with some deep breathing. Start with maybe a little meditation. Meditation makes a big difference. Start with some prayer. Ask God for help. Look and find out how to be your best advocate by finding out about your own medications. Drink your water. Do a little bit of exercise. Call a friend. Connect. Be a part of a community. Don't isolate. And by all means, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, if you're just feeling really desperate, reach out. Even to me. I'm not going to give you an email address or anything like that. But if you really are having a hard time, reach out. Even here on our messages or whatever. And I can connect you maybe with a professional, somebody who can help you. But don't ever feel isolated and don't feel alone. But don't stay that way either. Connect. Join our sprint community. It's true. The sprint community is an unbelievable community of women who are supportive, who are encouraging, who connect. It's not just a hi, bye, see ya. It's a real, caring about you kind of thing. I've never seen such a community in my life. And while we've been kind of quiet lately, we're coming through again. And it's time, you guys. It's time. So that's what I have for you today. And I'm sorry I went a little bit long, but I just don't want to see anybody lost and anybody alone and anyone feeling completely worthless and depressed. It doesn't have to be that way. Just reach out. Will you promise me that? Put a pinky up. Reach out and bring yourself into a community. Reach out and start drinking your water. Reach out and start exercising a little bit. It doesn't have to be much. Just a couple high knees, 4-minute workout, whatever. But start understanding that you have the power to change just a little thing, and it might make all the difference in the world. Sometimes the smallest, littlest change means everything. I've experienced this myself, and I know a lot of people who have. So hang in there, you guys. Hang in there. And believe me, you're loved, you're welcomed, you're a part of my community. And if you want more, and if you want to be a part of it even closer, come join us on the sprint. Go to savingdinner.com. It's right there, and it's free. It costs you nothing. I just don't want you to be alone. And even if you don't have any weight to lose, or you don't even want to do any of it, I don't care. Just come on in and just say, I need some people. We're there for you. Okay? Deal? Love you guys. Appreciate you. I will see you. Peace out.